Hello everyone and welcome to our video presentation on transformative learning theory. My name is Sarah Butler and my partner in this presentation is Kelsey Petron. First of all, we're going to start by defining transformative learning theory. So the theory was developed by Jack Mezirow, and he defined the theory as the process by which we transform our taken for granted frame of reference, which also can be our meaning, perspectives, our habits of mind, our mindset, to make them more inclusive, discriminated, open, emotionally capable of change, and reflective so that they may generate beliefs and opinions that will prove more true or justified to guide action in the future. And there are three aspects of the theory. And so the first aspect is the psychological. So there will be a change of understanding ourselves and maybe our placement in the world or how we saw things previously. And the next aspect is the convictional. So a revision or rewriting of what our belief systems are. And so there's a change that happens to what we believe in. And lastly is changes in lifestyle or the behavior of what we do as people. So before learning this new concept or idea that changes us, we believed one way, and then afterwards our lifestyles are changed and we have a new way of looking at this topic or area.
Our second bubble is the founder. Our founder is Jack Mezirow. He developed the theory in the late 1900s. He was born in Fargo, North Dakota in 1923 and passed away 3 years ago in 2014. Mezirow has many roles. He was a founder, a husband, a sociologist, a professor, and an author. Like I said, he was the founder of the concept of transformative learning in 1978. The transformative learning theory was developed by Mezirow, and he used this theory to describe how people develop and use critical self-reflection to consider their beliefs and experiences, and over time change dysfunctional meanings of seeing the world. Mezirow was interested in people's worldviews and what leads people to change their particular view of the world. He was also a sociologist. Fun fact, Mezirow received his Bachelor of Arts degree and Master's degree in Social Sciences and Education from the University of Minnesota. Woo! He also received his doctorate in Adult Education from UCLA. He was also a professor. He's a professor of Adult and Continuing Education at Columbia University. And lastly, he was an author. He was an author of numerous literature and research. A few examples in his latest work were Transformative Dimensions of Adult Learning and Fostering Critical Reflection in Adulthood. He also served as a consultant for adult literacy across the globe in places such as Latin America, Asia, and Africa. A few other contributors of the theory were Robert Boyd, Larry Delos, and Paolo Ferreri. There's a quote that said, his notion of transformative education reflects a psyche for soul-centered psychology. That is, what matters most in learning is what matters to the deep ground of our being, the psyche or soul, and what is primary, original, basic, and necessary.
So to how it started, in the late 1970s, the theory was originally based on a research study of women returning to college as reentry students. And it was actually Mezirow's wife, Edie, was one of the reentry students. And this is where he found the inspiration or the beginnings of developing or looking into this theory. At the time, it was called perspective transformation, and it was a stage-based, largely rational description of how the women in this setting experience a transition in their lives. And the stages began with the disorientating experience of going back to school, which we can all relate to now that we are new students as well. And it then includes steps related to self-examination and critical reflection, and sometimes feelings of alienation or having a difference from others. But then coming back within this, shared group and being able to relate their shared same experience. It also helped them build self-confidence, and they acquired new knowledge and skills, and then reintegrating into society with this revised perspective on the way they think in the world. So the assumptions, the updated comprehensive theory was based on the constructivist assumptions, where meaning is constructed by individuals in social contexts and is validated through communication with others and sharing that shared experience.
All right, and then the last 25 years, this theory has been very prominent within the last 25 years. Some examples of the transformative learning within the last 25 years are online educational programs, job training, personal crisis, daily life, and adult learning in small groups. And then some applications of transformative learning theory are teachers. They provide a space to critically engage with new ideas. Teachers who want to utilize transformative learning in classrooms can consider implementing the following opportunities for students. They can provide opportunities for critical thinking. They can provide opportunities to relate to others going through the same transformative process. And then lastly, they can provide opportunities to act on new perspectives. And then we just have a few examples with real life. Sarah actually had an encounter a while back with one of her students, but people undergo transformative learning every day, and many share their stories, but then there are also many who don't. Then Sarah will share her experience with her students.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I was teaching financial education to adults in North Minneapolis, majority underserved, low income. And so the classes and the concepts taught over the 4-week period were budgeting, credit, debt, consumer protection, spending behavior. And so during the 4 weeks, my students I require them to track their daily spending in a log, and that includes everything from something they buy at a vending machine to a trip to Target or groceries. And so over the 4 weeks, my goal for them with the tracking is for the students to create a realistic budget, because when people write down what they think they spend, it is not what they really spend. And so actually tracking every penny during that time will help them understand their spending behavior, and then for them to hopefully make changes. And so during our last class, we do a reflection of what people learned as a result of tracking their expenses for the 4 weeks. And it's a small group, and by the 4th week, everyone kind of knows each other, and the ground rules are set, so everyone is really respectful of each other. And during this last session, I had one of my adult students, realize that he spent $74 on candy at the candy store or at the corner store as he would approach or get on the bus. Before he got on the bus, he would grab his lunch and whatnot. And he just realized, oh my goodness, I spent $74 on candy in a month. And so there was a lot of disbelief by the dollar amount. And in reflection with discussion, he explained that, it has helped him change the way that he plans to spend, or what his spending behavior will be in the future. And so he really expounded upon that and learned from it and grew.
Yeah, thank you for that example.
So for us to just kind of wrap up what the transformational learning process is, I found this infographic online, and it's cited from Brookfield from 1987. But the learning process happens, there's a triggering event that prompts inner discomfort or questioning of behavior. And then there's an appraisal of oneself, and self scrutiny, and being able to then explore um, ways to either explain discrepancies or to live with them. And then, as a result, development of an alternative perspective or new ways of thinking and acting. So, realizing that there are options and changes that can happen. And then lastly, integrating what was learned in those perspectives into one's everyday life.
And we'd just like to thank you for listening to our transformative learning theory presentation. We hope it was very transformational for you guys, and you can learn a little bit more about this theory. So we can't wait to hear all of the other presentations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.